Hey guys, what's up? This is okay. I promise I'm not about to become a tier list channel. But what's happening is there's been a lot of remakes and reboots and sequels lately, and it's got me reminiscing. Now, um, much like Pyro Software never ever mentions that he worked at Blizzard, I have very rarely indicated that I am 41 years old. That is a joke. I mention it every video because I'm still kind of weirded out by it. Um, but I've played a lot of video games. I've been gaming since 1988 when I was 4 years old. So I've it's no exaggeration to say that I've personally completed at least 1,000 games, maybe more like closer to 1,500. And if you include the amount of let's plays that I've watched, that number creeps to 2,000 easily, if not more. And I wish I could prove that, but it would take me forever to list out every video game I've ever played and beat. And that's not even including incomplete games. So all that said, I made that Resident Evil video, and a couple of the complaints that I heard was number one, I didn't do an actual tier list. I just did a ranking. And number two, well, that was actually the only complaint that I got. The video did pretty well though for my little bitty channel. So I wanted to go through and talk about some of the horror games, basically the ones that I've played or watched let's plays on, and my thoughts on them if I have any. Right? Um, I've already cleared out a bunch of games that I had no. I mean, there was like Call of Duty Zombies and stuff on here. Um, so I want to talk about the franchise as a whole and what I think of them and what I'm excited about for the future and that sort of thing. I also noticed just now that actually Control's not on here. I would consider Control to be at least in the realm of horror, but I guess not. But yeah, I will rank each game individually as well as the franchise as a whole. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. And of course, there'll be probably clips and stuff playing. This video is going to take a bit to edit, but it is what it is. Um, I also Okay, so to start, I'm just gonna do an alphabetical order. It's the order that it's on here, so it's fine. There's also some stuff that isn't on here that maybe should be. I mean, I would argue that some of the Shin Megami Tensei games qualify as horror games like Nocturne. I mean, they may be RPGs, but yeah. Another one that's not on here is one that I actually made a whole video on recently, Sweet Home. So if there's anything missing, let me know in the comments, and I will tell you if you're curious where I would rank it. But yeah, so we're gonna start with Alan Wake. Alan Wake 1, for its time, was a great game. I actually did not play American Nightmare because at the time I remember seeing it coming out and being excited at first, and then like thinking like it wasn't an actual sequel, like it almost seemed like, and I need to go back and watch a video on it. And this I'm gonna do all this from the top of the dome before I go collect footage. So yeah, if I don't know something, I'm gonna have to be honest about it. With American Nightmare, my memory is something along the lines of it's not actually a sequel to Alan Wake. It's like some sort of action game, sort of almost like a horde game. I don't know. It was weird, and maybe I need to go back and revisit that. But I never had an interest in American Nightmare, even though I loved Alan Wake, and I only recently played Control after I played Alan Wake 2, and I wanted more of that world, and I found out that Control was part of that. That said, I would immediately this is a weird situation, right? Because there's replayable tier and then there's peak tier. Those are different, but they're not necessarily consecutive, right? Peak tier does not necessarily have to be replayable, but something in replayable is not necessarily worse than peak tier. So for Alan Wake 2, I would actually put it in peak. I think Alan Wake 2 had some incredible things going for it. The only thing I did not like about Alan Wake 2 was the combat. It never evolved. You were always just fighting humanoids with various, sometimes they threw axes, sometimes they had a rifle, I think. They usually came at you with melee weapons. And then there was a couple of bosses that were actually fairly humanoid as well, except for one I remember being the actual, it was like a ghost under the retirement home. That was the Alan Wake 2 is peak horror gaming. If you took away a lot of the stuff that made it amazing, like the musical sequence and all that stuff, it would actually probably drop down a little bit. but the things that were good about Alan Wake 2 were so good that I literally could not put it down until I finished it. I have a bit of a playthrough on the channel, but back then my Let's Plays weren't doing well. I've kind of started figuring out how to balance that out. But I've all of my playthroughs and stuff. There's 9 years worth of videos on the channel, and I don't want to go into this too much. Also, comments and subscriptions, obviously. I do horror gaming and JRPG content on this channel. But yeah, I loved Alan Wake 2, but I also would not replay Alan Wake 2. It's far more interesting to me, and this is the thing, right? It's more interesting to me to go watch other people play Alan Wake 2 and see their reactions to the stuff that I loved than it is for me the idea to replay it, because playing the video game itself was not riveting. The puzzles were really good. The exploration was really good. The collectibles were really good, but the actual gunplay really, I just wanted to get past that. I would not go back and play Alan Wake 2 on a harder difficulty because I feel like there'd be nothing there. But yeah, I'm just gonna move on past Alan Wake now. We're gonna go to Amnesia. Amnesia, for the most part, goes into the Let's Play tier. There's, let's see here. So I don't know what this one is. I can hardly see it. What is it? Hang on. Woo, that's a machine for pigs. Yeah, I don't know what that one. Actually, I don't know what that one is at all. I didn't see anybody playing a machine for pigs. That's weird. But for Rebirth, it's going to go into the literally too scary tier. Back when Rebirth came out, I was trying to be a Let's Player. I'm not really, I do Let's Plays, but not in that sense anymore. It's less of a comedy thing and more of an analytical sense. But Amnesia Rebirth scared me so bad. And it also, okay, so there's two parts to it. One, it scared the crap out of me. And I honestly don't play horror games to get scared. I play horror games because I like the story and the mystery. So Amnesia Rebirth was not only not actually telling me anything that was going on, but one of my worst fears in terms of gaming is when you hear things and like they're very directional and you sound like you're being stalked or followed. That makes my skin crawl. So with the combination of I wasn't getting the story that I wanted, and also I was scared shitless. I dropped it, and I can't even tell you whether or not it was good or bad. I watched other people play it after I decided I couldn't handle it anymore, and it seemed pretty mid, honestly. But I'm not here to trash other people's favorite games. You know what I mean? If Amnesia Rebirth is, a peak game for you, if any of these games that I put in any of these tiers are peak, that is okay. I've given up on trashing other people's loves long ago. I've decided I want to be a space of positivity. So if you love any of these games that I put in a poor tier, I am happy for you. If the world burned down tomorrow, I would work to make sure you had a copy of that game, even though I don't like it. And then the Bunker was Let's Play tier. Again, kind of the same concept with Rebirth. There wasn't a lot of like gameplay with the Bunker. It was very much being chased around by a monster and manipulating its AI, and that's not really a gameplay style that I like. If you can't fight something, I don't mind being chased a little bit, right? I mean, we're talking about Mr. X and Nemesis. I don't mind being chased and stalked, but I also need some action to break that up, right? I need to feel in control before you take away my power again. Otherwise, I feel like I'm in a walking simulator, even if it's not a walking simulator. Amnesia, the Bunker, was by no means a walking simulator. It was very much a puzzle horror game with kind of almost Metroidvania mechanics, but there was no combat really. You had a pistol and you could shoot some stuff, but the gun was less about combat, more about managing your resources. Making sure you had. I think everything was procedurally generated too, which was really cool. I really liked watching Markiplier and Jacksepticeye and a couple other people play it, but it was not for me personally to play. Ao is Let's Play tier. I really honestly can't go too deep into it. In fact, I don't know. I think I have to put it in no interest here because I don't think I've ever seen a full Let's Play of Ao. I may have seen bits and pieces. There's this girl named RPG Minx. Well, she used to be RPG Minx. Now I think she's Manga Minx now. But either way, I used to watch her play a lot of horror games, and I probably saw her play Ao, but all I remember is the big purple thing. I'm sure Markiplier played it too. It's one of those viral RPG Maker games. So yeah, Back for Blood. Played this with some friends. It was fine. I couldn't finish it because it was very, very, very difficult, even on normal mode back then. And before they patched the game, like literally, it was just too difficult. Like we just couldn't do it. And it was partly a failing on me. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, if I had had better teammates, I could have done. Like these were my homies. We did our best. We got to the final stage. We could not push through it, and my multiplayer guys just have no interest in revisiting it, even though it's been patched and fixed. So, in fact, one of them specifically is done with zombie games. So I'll probably never get to go back to it. But it was fine. I mean, I would honestly, if I had like a group of people to go back and replay it like some, I would do it, but I don't have that. That's just not the gamers that me and my old men friends are. Baldie's Basics is Let's Play tier. I watched Let's Plays on it. A lot of it. This game was freaking huge, and it was during a period of time where I personally wasn't making videos. So it's fine. It's I kind of wish they'd done more to it. They made a sequel that was like a camping game where you had to gather logs or something. It went to weird places and never continued, but it was a great little stint on YouTube with GT Live and everybody playing Baldi's Basics and theorizing on it. It was fun. Um, I think Bendy is pretty one and done. I don't think there's anything wrong with Bendy. The art style is amazing. It's kind of one of those games where there's not really a lot of gameplay. So okay, so the original Bendy is Let's Play tier. I did not play the original Bendy myself. I watched other people play it. I was not a YouTuber at that time. But when Dark Revival and Secrets of the Machine came out, I was. And I played through them and it was fine. Um the Dark Revival I want to describe as like, oh, see, that's another game that's not on here actually, is oh god, what is the games where you're like in the ocean? I'm drawing a blank. But like there's the little girls and the big machine things. I'll remember the name of it later. This is kind of the problem with not scripting things is you don't remember stuff sometimes. But yeah, it reminded me a lot of that franchise's combat and stuff. Just you only get a crowbar instead of like a gun. You may get a gun eventually. It's been a couple years, I think. Um, but it was fine. It was fun. I enjoyed the story. I am looking forward to the next Bendy game. I know Bendy 3 is coming out. We learned a little bit about that from Secrets of the Machine. So yeah, when Bendy 3 comes out, I'll definitely be replaying it. Bigfoot is kind of like Back for Blood, where I would play it if I had friends that were interested, but nobody is. Blair Witch, I remember watching Jacksepticeye and maybe Markiplier play it, and it was fine. It was fine. It definitely isn't something I have any interest in playing, but I mean, it was fun to watch somebody else play. A lot of games are like that. Um, this is one where I'm like, okay, sure, Bloodborne, I guess. And it's also gonna be a very controversial topic too, because I couldn't finish it. I've played Bloodborne twice, and I've stopped probably at the same point both times, and that was after the world, after the world gets revealed to be what it really is. Um, I am a big fan of the Souls franchise. I've played Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, 2, 3. I've beat the crap out of Elden Ring. I mean, I could pull up Steam right now. You'll see I have 450 hours in Elden Ring. It's actually my second most played game. I love Elden Ring. And the Souls franchise in general, and I like a lot of Souls-like too. I was a big fan of Black Myth Wukong, as an example, which is hard to justify as a, Souls-like, but it is what it is. Um, the big thing with Bloodborne is just that I don't think the combat is super fun. I think it's actually kind of inferior to the Souls franchises in general because it's more fast paced and less methodical, and that's what I like about Souls. And also, I feel like there's not really a lot of variance in the builds and stuff. Like, yeah, there's different weapons and different, like, slightly different combat styles, but at the end of the day, your only option is basically melee. They've taken away everything else. Um, and I also really hate the level design. I find Bloodborne to be very confusing compared to the Dark Souls games. Um, and I had to bust out a guide several times to figure out where to go. And I don't like the quest lines either, which, I mean, the quest lines are very, very, very Elden Ring adjacent or very Dark Souls adjacent. But the problem with Bloodborne is that a lot of the times the NPCs you need to talk to are hidden behind doors. And there's like maybe a lantern outside of them or a light, but you don't get to see the people and they never really move outside of occasionally somebody will move to the cathedral or whatever. And I really like the concept of Bloodborne. I like the idea of cosmic horror. Um, But at the end of the day, it just didn't do it for me. I've gotten about 60 to 75% of the way through the game both times, and neither time I felt compelled to go on. Callisto Protocol, no interest. I did not watch anybody else play it, but through some, through between reviews and watching, a couple of clips from other gamers and stuff, let's play channels. As much as I love Dead Space, the Callisto Protocol just did not seem like it was going to be anything I wanted to do. Um, let's see here. I played the Clocktower remake, but I don't know which. I guess this is probably no. This is the SNES, which did I play the SNES? I'm gonna put it in always wanted to play tier, which I could have done at any point, but I did play the remake, and I'll put it in one and done tier. Clocktower was fine. I I never. It was a Super Nintendo or earlier horror game. It was basically one of the first horror games, and very much, very much play it with a guide. It is a product of its time. You can put dozens of hours into it trying to figure out how to beat it on your own, but there's also variables like where you can find certain items and stuff, and it changes how you have to complete the game. And I wasn't interested in all the endings. I just want to see the best ending, the canon ending, and so that's what I went for, and that's what I got. Um, and I mean, it was fine. I didn't hate it. I kind of hated it, but only because again, I'm at this point I'm a modern gamer, and some of the old games, a lot of old games, if you go back and play them, like PS1 games are a great example. You go back and play old PS1 games. If you've never played them before, they're amazing, or they're really bad. Sorry, scratch that, reverse it. But if you played them when they came out, they're probably amazing to you, right? Great example of this we'll get to later is going to be Parasite Eve, but we'll talk about that then. But yeah, so it's going to be mostly uncut, so sorry about the coughing. It's early in the morning, and I need to get this video recorded before I go to some stuff later. But yeah, Clocktower's fine. Clocktower 2, I'm going to put in an always want to play it tier. Hopefully it gets a remake soon. I do not want to play it under the conditions of the original version because, again, I never played it before, and I'm immediately going to think it's bad. Clocktower, another great thing about the remake, just swinging back to that for a second, was it did have a save anywhere feature, or save states, actually. It had built-in save states. So it was much easier to get through than it otherwise would have been. So yeah, same thing with Clocktower 2. I would love to replay it as a modern, a modern remake with save states and stuff and a guide. Clocktower 3, I'm gonna put it in Let's Play. See, I've not actually watched anybody play it all the way through, but I've actually watched like 3 retrospectives on it. It does not seem like a game I'm super interested in going back and playing. If they remade it, I would. Oh man, it is. My allergies are beating me up right now. But anyways, yeah, if they remade Clocktower 3 and cleaned it up, I would probably want to play it, but as of right now, I won't ever touch it. I would need an entirely new, like, built from the ground up game though. Content warning, no interest. It's just trying to be a horror version of Lethal Company, which I also never found scary, so whatever. Hang on. Can I mute my microphone over here? I'm gonna take some Mucinex. Jesus. Okay. Cry of Fear. Let's Play tier. I'm sure. So I left it because I know it was really popular for a time, but I never actually, I don't think, watched anybody play it. And if I did, it was once. It was probably Markiplier. I know I hear him talk about Cry of Fear a lot. If you can't tell, I've been watching YouTube for a while. Markiplier is one of my go-tos. He doesn't even upload anymore. But I mean, he does, but it's really rare. And speaking of which, all of the Dark Picture Anthology games, and this is going to also include the other 2 when I get to them, they're in Let's Play tier. I have zero interest in ever playing them, but they're great little movies to watch somebody else play. If you like horror movies, they can be campy and cheesy. It's like watching the original Friday the 13th movies again. Like they're just campy and silly and ridiculous, and it also is cool that they have a bunch of different branching paths. So sometimes you can see different pieces of the story from a different point of view, or even what somebody dying, and it's a choose your own adventure movie, and it's honestly something I've thought about that'd be cool for movie theaters a lot. Like you have 40 people sitting in a movie theater together, and they have a button that picks which direction you want the story to go, and it's like a voting system. It would also give movies rewatchability. That would be cool. But yeah, I think the Dark Pictures anthologies and what they do is really cool. It's not something I have any interest in playing myself, but I always watch other people play them when they come out. I actually don't remember seeing The Devil in Me. That must be a newer one, so I might need to go look into that. Darkwood is let's play tier. I watched Markiplier play it. He made it look really fun, but it's not my type of game, honestly. So yeah, no interest there. Deadly Premonition 1 and 2. It's one of those games where like they're memes kind of. They're always in the like the worst horror game tier list or whatever, and I just have no interest at all in either of those. Didn't make for a great Game Grumps playthrough though. There's some great moments from that. Danny screaming uncontrollably for about 3 seconds because a ghost popped out of a wall, and then him just being like totally fine afterwards is like peak old school Game Grumps. Dead Rising, it's the no interest here. I don't even know that I'd qualify these as horror games, but I've never played them. I have no interest in playing them, and I probably never will play them, even though I love Capcom and I love horror games. These are very action-oriented games, and it's just not my style. When I play, I want a good story, and the story on these, I have watched the Game Grumps play Dead Rising 1 and 2, and it's just like I don't see any story for me to latch onto. It just seems very much an arcade game almost. So it's fine. If you love Dead Rising, I'm happy for you. I'm sure they're very fun for you, but for me personally, they're not in my realm of enjoyment. I'm gonna put OG Dead Space in no interest. It's not quite true. There's just really nowhere else to put it. I did play the original Dead Space when it came out. I loved it. I played it. I want to say it was the Xbox 360. All the Dead Space games to me are really good. But I'm putting Dead Space 1 into the no interest category because the remake is replayable tier. I would and probably will replay Dead Space 1 at some point, the remake. Everything that I didn't like with the original game, which was very few things to begin. Honestly, there were things that I didn't like in the original that I didn't know that I didn't like until I played the remake. It's that deep. But I think all the Dead Space games go firmly in the replayable tier. They are incredible games. I really hate the way 3 ended. I wish it would get a remake and fix the ending and the gameplay and stuff. I love multiplayer horror games. I would love to be able to play Dead Space 3 with one of my friends as a remake. So I'm hoping after the success of the original Dead Space that we'll get a 2 and then eventually a 3 remake. And maybe they change the ending of 3 so we can get more. I mean, I know not everybody wants companies to keep rehashing the same idea over and over, but when they tried to stop, we got the Callisto Protocol, which was trying to be Dead Space, but it was way worse from what I saw. I could be wrong, but everything I heard says that. So, Dino Crisis for me is a one and done tier. I remember playing it and enjoying it, but I wouldn't replay it in modern times. I played it back when it first came out because it was a part of that whole Resident Evil phenomenon time period. You know what I mean? Where like Capcom was cracking out Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, and they were all bangers. And they put out Code Veronica, and nobody got to play it, but because nobody owned a Dreamcast. But yeah, so that said, Dino Crisis 2 and 3, I'm going to put in the no interest here because from what I can recall, they moved away from that survival horror thing and kind of became more action-oriented games. And I'm just, again, they really also didn't have enough story. Like, Dino Crisis had a lot of intrigue and mystery, but once that was gone and you were just left with action games, it was pretty meh. I may need to go back and watch some retrospectives on these at some point, but for now, they go there. Emily wants to play 1 and 2. Definitely one and done games. They could have been really good lore hunter games. but they end up just being like okay, right? Like if you like horror games, they're interesting, but it's not something that I'm interested in ever playing again. I don't even know if I played these. I might have just watched Let's Plays. I'm gonna put these in Let's Play tier. I actually think I watched other people play these. No, I think I did play 2. I did play Emily Wants to Play 2, but I don't think I played the first one. Or maybe it's the other way around. Either way, I've seen them both. Eternal Darkness was for the GameCube. I actually think Eternal Darkness, I'm gonna put it in couldn't finish tier, but not for the same reason I put Bloodborne in the unfinished tier. Eternal Darkness, if I remember correctly, you have to beat 3 times to get the perfect ending. And you have to there's like 3 gods that are fighting. No, maybe it's 4 times. I think there's 3 gods that are fighting, and after you beat the game 3 times under each individual god, you actually get a 4th one that's unlocked, and it's the God of Chaos. And I only beat it the 1 time, and then I stopped playing it, so I never got to see the real ending. So I effectively only beat a quarter of the game. But I was also playing it at somebody else's house, I remember. So it's not something I actually owned myself. Maybe something to revisit someday, but as of right now, I did not actually finish Eternal Darkness. The Evil Within, Let's Play tier. I have not played The Evil Within 1 or 2, but I've watched speed runs of it. I've watched Let's Plays of it. They're great games. They look great anyways, but I just can't. I never, for some reason, I just never picked them up. Maybe it was a money thing. Um, I have not lived a financially blessed life, and sometimes I just have to skip games because I can't afford them. So it is what it is. I definitely did watch Let's Plays. I think they look great, and maybe someday I'll visit them, but right now they go in the Let's Play tier. Fatal Frame franchise is one of my favorites, to be honest. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna put Fatal Frame 1 in one and done. Fatal Frame 2 is definitely in the replayable tier. I've played it a few times, and I'll talk about these more later. Where did Fatal Frame 3 go? Fatal Frame 3, replayable. Fatal Frame, this was the Mask of the Lunar Eclipse. This one's a bit interesting, because it did finally come out in America, I think, maybe, but I played it, I played it by nautical means, we'll say. I remember it being really good. Not no, I'm gonna put this down. I remember this being really good. I think I would replay Mask of the Lunar Eclipse. It's 5 that I would do in one and done. All the Fatal Frame games are really, really, really good. At least on a first playthrough. They have this. It's like playing a video game version of Ringu or The Grudge. And yeah, I know I said one in Japanese and the other one in English because I don't know what The Grudge is called in Japanese. But whatever. Listen, I love the Fatal Frame franchise. They are actually responsible for me being as into horror gaming as I am because their narratives are so good. And they also have really good gameplay because rather than, aiming and shooting your gun at something's head, like you have to get intimate with these enemies, these specters and ghosts and goblins. Well, there's no goblins. Actually, there are some goblins, but they're not goblins. Whatever. Anyways, I would love to see this franchise continue, and hopefully they will, since they re-released the Tormented and Mask of the Lunar Eclipse. I think both got releases on Steam. I have to go back and check, but these are all phenomenal games, and I highly recommend them to horror enthusiasts. They really can get under your skin, and also they're just fun, and there's a lot of intrigue. They're very quiet and slow, and they build, and when there is actually a jump scare, it gets you. I think the only problem I have is I don't remember if it's all of them. I think it's just these 3. But sometimes I think it was just Fatal Frame 5 actually. Maybe 4. So you when you go to pick up a consumable, a non-key item, there's a chance that a ghost would reach out and grab your hand, and if you didn't pull your hand away quick enough, the ghost would steal the item and you would take damage. And I love the jump scare part of that, the tensity, but also I really hate that you lose the item. So if you ask me on any given day if I love or hate that mechanic, I would probably change my answer depending on how I'm feeling. Fear goes into replayable tier. And remember, peak and replayable are the same tier, just different. The entire F.e.a.r franchise goes in replayable, except for F.e.a.r 3, which goes in peak. I hope they remake these games someday. Alma is one of my favorite horror antagonists. I don't love what they did with the story in F.e.a.r 3. It was less fear and more Call of Duty. Um, but F.e.a.r 1 and 2 did incredible stuff as far as, funny enough, not just the horror genre, but like the first person shooter genre. The bullet time slowdown and everything was so good, and I remember in the combat is just phenomenal. F.e.a.r 3 has that as well. It's just like I said, with the story not being as good as F.e.a.r 1 and 2, I wouldn't replay it, but I would and have replayed F.e.a.r 1 and 2. This is unfortunately a product of the WB getting a hold of the franchise. I really hope they bring this back someday, though. A first-person shooter game with jump scares and horror, but like also you're powerful. That's the thing about F.e.a.r. It's the only horror game that I've played where even when you're fully geared to the teeth, they can still scare the hell out of you. Usually, like in a Resident Evil game or a Fatal Frame game, even like once you start getting the better things, the better weapons and whatnot, you're fine. You're good to go. You're no longer afraid. You're in control. But F.e.a.r regularly manages to take away your power, and I think that's really special in terms of horror design. Not letting you slowly power creep into god tier to where like a zombie is just a chair in the way, you know. FNAF franchise. I am not going to go into detail on these. There's also games that aren't even on here, like Secret of the Mimic, and I don't even see. Security Breach is right here. But yeah, like this is from, if you look at the thing, it's from this April 2025. So I have never played the original FNAF. I've never played the original FNAF 2, 3, or 4. I watched Let's Plays of all of these. I'm not as into the franchise as I once was. I think everything, okay, so I really like Security Breach and Help 1 and 2, but and Help Wanted, but I think Secret of the Mimic is where it's going to start falling off for me. I'll give it the chance, but Sister Location was my first FNAF game that I actually played. Man, I really need more tiers. I just realized that like there's not a tier for like it's fine. Let's make a tier for it's fine. Let's add a row above, and we'll call it it's fine. It was fine. I liked it at the time. I think the Let's Play still on the channel, in fact, where I streamed it, or maybe I did Let's Plays of it. But Sister Location is good. It kind of was like very much an evolved form of the first 4 FNAF games, and I enjoyed playing it. It's where a lot of the mini games started, you know. Originally, you know, it was just watching cameras and making decisions, but it got to a point where it was about in Sister Location where they started adding in the mini games and all that stuff, and it was a lot of fun. And I don't mean mini games like The Secrets. I mean mini games like literally having to play mini games rather than just watching cameras, like, you know, crawling across the Bellora's room, and the one where you were trying to repair some circuits, and Fun Time Freddy was like coming at you, and you had to like take a picture of him to take a picture to reveal him, and then he'd walk towards you, and then you have to play music to make him go back to where he started, and there was like a cooldown. Like that sort of project management stuff started with Sister Location, as far as I can recall. Man, the RPG I had no interest in. I guess I did watch GT Live play it, and of course, with all the theorizing and stuff that happened, I've seen a lot of it. But meh. Ultimate Custom Night. Let's Play tier again. I'm just gonna go ahead and slap the Help Wanted games in there because I've never had VR. Couldn't afford it. But I did watch people play all of these. I'm pretty intimate with the storylines of all of them and how they tie into the overall universe as much as anybody could be. Security Breach is fine. I actually left it a negative review on Steam. It's actually a great concept and fun to play when it works, and I definitely wouldn't want to replay it. That's kind of the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise as a whole. You play them, for me anyways, I play them once and then, well, actually I haven't played most of them myself. I experience them once and then I just go watch theory videos, right? Because that's where the fun for Five Nights at Freddy's for me is the storyline unfolding behind the scenes. Even if there are tons of retcons and Scott never actually knew what he was doing when he was building the game. The Forest, it's fine. We actually did finish it. Me and my friend Ian finished it, and it's fun. I mean, it's a survival game with horror aspects. I don't even know that I'd super call it horror. It doesn't really become like really horror until the final stretch when you get into like the base and have to start going through the mountain. But it's fine. It's definitely great if you have like 3 or 4 friends you can play with. Jump in there and explore. Go in blind. Um, it's a really fun game for that. But that's just because it's a really good survival game. Sons of the Forest, couldn't finish it. It was bad. You get attacked way too often. The building is great, but they don't you're not incentivized to do any building. You're actually incentivized to run from underground bunker to underground bunker. And just kind of fight your way through it. There's really no point in building. It's almost like it's 2 separate games, right? It's almost like it's a survival game over here and then like a single player action game over here. So you can run straight and get the pistol. It's one of those games. It's fine. I mean, I don't really know. We didn't finish it like because it wasn't what we were wanting. But yeah. Okay. Um Franbow. I love Franbow. I would not play it again. I think for what it is though, it's absolutely peak. It's adorable. It's got a lot of mystery and intrigue behind it, and it's just a good time. It's a good time. I wouldn't play it a second time once you've like seen the game and all the reveals and everything, but it's a great game. I also would fail to call it a horror game, but since it's in this category, it's going in peak. If you haven't played Franbow, play Franbow. It's just a really good experience. Um, the granny games all go into let's play tier. Um, they're whatever. I didn't play them myself. It's another one of those where I watched like other people play them, and this is one I definitely did not see the appeal for at all. I don't get it. Also slapping GTFO, Haunting Grounds, and Hello Neighbor into the Let's Play tiers. These are all games that I have not personally played myself, but I watch other people play and theorize on them. I know Hello Neighbor fell off after the full release. And GTFO is a multiplayer game that I can never get my friends to play with me, but again, it's kind of one of those where it seems like it'd probably be too hard for all of us combined, to be honest with you. Haunting Ground is an interesting case because this actually is a retro horror game that I believe was on the, I want to say PS2 maybe. It looks pretty good. I've watched a full let's play of it. I've watched a speed run. I've also watched some retrospectives. I would honestly like to see this remade with better gameplay and stuff and like more if you watch if you watch the stuff on Haunting Grounds, you'll actually see a lot of interesting parallels between modern horror and it. A lot of the games where you can only like hide under the bed and hide in a closet, and there's like a stalker type enemy. I believe Haunting Ground has 4 stalker type enemies that each take turns depending on what point the game you're at. And you have a doggo friend, and there's also like a loyalty mechanic with it where you can only get the best ending of the game if you treat your dog really well, which, 10 out of 10 gameplay right there. But yeah, it's one of those that I don't think I would enjoy if I go back and play it. But they're fine. It looked really good, and I would love a remake so that I could experience in the modern time. The House of the Dead franchise, I mean, but, I don't even know. They're fine. I'm just gonna put them all in. It's fine. I've played House of the Dead up to a certain point. I couldn't tell you which ones I have and haven't played. I know I've played 1 and 2. House of the Dead 3, I probably played all of them at some point. I used to go hang out a lot at a place called US Play that had all these horror games and stuff. I would actually have to go stay up there because I was spending time with my grandma, and she worked at a hotel beside the US Play. So I would go sleep in an empty hotel room because she'd have to be there like 4 a.m. So I'd go with her. I'd sleep in an empty hotel room until like 9 or 10 a.m. and then I'd go play arcade games all day at US Play, as much as she would give me money for it, anyways. I probably did not play this one, but it's all the House of the Dead games are the same. They're not even really horror games. You just shoot zombies, and it's a fun arcade shooter. Jesus, there's more. How many House of the Dead games were there? I'm sure they were all fine. House of the Dead remake. I definitely didn't play that. We'll just slap this one in no interest, just for the sake of doing it, because I don't really have an interest in it. Inscription. Peak. Inscription is absolutely peak. It is not a game I would play a second time, but it's also one of those games where I watched, like, I beat it myself and then watched half a dozen other people play it, and I watched theories and secrets, and there's the VHS tape, so there's like the ARG in it. Inscription is absolutely peak indie gaming. If you have not played Inscription and you're going in blind, just go in and play Inscription. It is fantastic. Oh my god, Inscription is good. It's so good that I do not even want to give any spoilers, because it's kind of one of those games that, like, as it unfolds, it gets more and more wild. Iron Lung Let's Play tier. Obviously, I watched Markiplier play it. The movie, as of the recording of this video, still is not out. Someday, maybe. Kuan, you would think it would go in the Let's Play tier, but no, I'm actually putting it in the it's fine tier. I'll put it in one and done. It definitely probably has some replayability to it. It's kind of like Resident Evil or Silent Hill with magic. The combat system was fine. The thing is like, you're not really incentivized to use the stronger spells. Usually, like in a Resident Evil game, you get progressively better weapons, or Silent Hill, or any other survival horror game. Really, you get progressively better weapons. You get the pistol, you upgraded the shotgun, you carry the pistol around for a little while because you have ammo for it, and then you find the grenade launcher, and so you box the pistol for emergencies, and now you're carrying around a shotgun and a grenade launcher. It kind of works out like that. But in Kuan, there's never really an incentive to use the stronger spells, because the weaker spells are all so good and plentiful. There's a Let's Play of Kuan on my channel. I would recommend, if you haven't seen it, to go and look at it. I believe I had to play a fan's translation because it never actually came out in America. It's really good, but it's also a one and done. I definitely would not play Kuan again unless they gave it the Resident Evil 4 remake treatment, which is probably not happening. But yeah, definitely recommend Kuan if you haven't played it. The Last of Us. So here's the thing. I'm just going to slap The Last of Us in the no interest here, although it's not true. No, I can't do that because I did not play the remake. So I'm going to put the remake in the no interest here. Back when I first played The Last of Us, I really got into it and I liked it a lot, but I felt like it dragged on a bunch, and I just, for whatever reason that I cannot explain, I had zero interest in playing The Last of Us 2. I think I was satisfied with the ending of The Last of Us, and so with part 2, I was just like, meh. Because by the end of The Last of Us, you kind of have a perfect idea of what's going on, right? You know what's causing the outbreak, you know the potential solutions, you know who the bad guys are. I felt like there was no reason for The Last of Us Part 2 to exist, and I didn't have an interest in it. I was perfectly okay with their story ending here, and that just is what it is. Maybe someday I'll get bored and go play it. Like right now, I'm actually playing Grandia 2. Like, I do go back and play old games when I'm in between stuff, because to date the video a bit, we're in August of 2025, and there hasn't been anything good to come out in the last couple of months, really. Like a couple of games here and there, but we're about to get slammed with a bunch of horror and JRPG games, and I'm talking about like 10 in the next 2 months, and I'm not going to be able to keep up with them all. But once that dies down and I'm between games again, I might consider giving The Last of Us 2 a try. But as it stands, it's just not on my list. It's not on my radar very much. Layers of Fear, Let's Play tier. I know I watched Markiplier play these games. No recollection at all. Left 4 Dead 2. Despite the fact that I really haven't played it that much. Nah. I guess this goes in couldn't finish it tier. Both of them. I played both Left 4 Dead games. I don't think I ever like finished them. I guess like got through all the campaigns and stuff. They're fine. They're fun. It's another one of those games where it's funny enough. It's just like Back for Blood and Sons of the Forest, where if you have friends to play with, they're probably peak. But if you don't have some like skilled Twitch gaming friends you can play with, they're like meh. There's a guy on YouTube I watch called Snamwitches. He does these like super ridiculously hard achievement challenge runs, and I think I've watched him do all of the campaigns for all of these. So really, you know what? I feel like I'll put these in Let's Play tier and say, Snamwitches is a much larger YouTuber than me, so he probably does not need my shout out, but I'm going to do it anyways because I find him highly entertaining. He can be very annoying, but also very entertaining. So if any Snamwitches fans are out there, hashtag Snamwitches mentioned on another channel. Where the hell did I... One and done? Did I put it in one and done? Did I already... Oh, there it is. Back for Blood. I'm actually going to slide all these down to the Let's Play tier. Lethal Company, it's fine. I don't even hardly consider it a... I don't even consider it really a horror game, but it's fine. I played it with my friends. We played it a good bit. It was great for a few laughs, a few larks, but overall, meh. Limbo is Let's Play tier. There was another game similar to Limbo that came out that I did play. Oh, you know what I'm thinking of? I'm thinking about Little Nightmares. So we'll get to that in a second. Actually, we'll get to it literally in a second. I watched, I think, Game Grumps play Limbo. It's fine. It looks great fun. It's a puzzle walking simulator, avoid the enemy type game. Cool story. Is it the one that ended with you like inside a ball of mass rolling down a hill? I can't remember. But yeah, I watch people play Limbo. It's not something I'm super interested in playing myself. I tried starting it at one point, and I was pretty meh on it for the gameplay, but definitely worth watching somebody else play. I actually consider Little Nightmares to be peak tier, both of them, and I'm very excited for Part 3 coming out in 2 months, I believe. Little Nightmares is very similar to Limbo from what I can from what I know about the two of them. Oh, you know what? I have to be honest here. Little Nightmares 2 goes in peak tier. Little Nightmares 1 actually goes in did I play Little Nightmares 1? I did not play Little Nightmares 1. Did I? No, I did not play Little Nightmares 1. I watched somebody else play the original Little Nightmares. But I did play the heck out of Little Nightmares 2. I was in it to win it. And the Let's Play for this, again, a lot of these games have playthroughs on my channel. So if you're into watching playthroughs, check them out. But yeah, Little Nightmares 2, great game, great story. Very excited for Little Nightmares 3. Mortuary Assistant, that is Let's Play tier. As you can imagine, I watch a bunch of people play that. And it's fine. It looks really cool. It is fun to watch other people watch it, play, and get scared, but it is not for me. Same thing with My Friendly Neighbor. I remember this. It had like a tape gun or something. It's very whatever. It's a mascot horror game that disappeared. I don't even know if they finished it. I think all I've ever seen people play was a demo. The Outlast games, very much the same thing. In fact, the only my experience with these is also through who I mentioned earlier, Snamwitches. He's done challenge runs on at least Outlast 1 and 2, and I don't think I've seen anybody play the Trials. We'll move this into to no interest. I think the Trials is like a multiplayer game or something. So no real interest there. But yeah, these two are fun to watch other people play, but very much not my style. Pacify, I haven't actually played it myself. It's right up there with Phasmophobia in terms of the gameplay style. It was fine to watch other people play. I never really had an interest in playing it myself, but it's interesting, right? It was one of the first multiplayer horror games that I can recall. It came out not long after Phasmophobia. We're gonna get into some controversial stuff. We'll put Parasite Eve 2 in Always Wanted to Play. We'll put Parasite Eve 3 in Always Wanted to Play. I have not played them, but I've heard weird things about them. The original Parasite Eve is fine. Um, if you go back and watch my playthrough, you'll think I hate it. I do not like it very much. It is very, I'll put it in one and done, I think. It's very product of its time. It's what I was talking about earlier, where it's one of those games, if you played it when it came out, you think it's one of the greatest horror games of all time. If you try to play it in the modern day, it is very clunky and not super fun, but the story is interesting. And the other problem with it is, to get the good ending, you actually have to beat the game normally and then restart the game and then do like this 100 floor Tartarus ass tower and get to the top and fight a final boss up there. Like, it's such a bizarre choice of how that even works in terms of the timeline. Um, I just played it normally, got the good ending for the base playthrough, and called it a day. I had no interest in replaying all that other stuff because the combat to me isn't that fun. It's actually pretty annoying, but yeah. Penumbra, no interest in. These are games that I've heard of, but I have not experienced in any way. But I do hear other Let's Players reference them sometimes, so I feel like I needed to put it somewhere. But yeah, I don't have any interest in playing Penumbra, but um, maybe is this the one where they're on the submarine or underwater or something? I almost feel like I have vague memories of watching somebody else play it, but I remember nothing about it, so no interest. Phasmophobia. It's fine. Um, it's it's fine. Um, Me and my friends played a good bit of it. I mean, I have a few dozen hours into it, but the thing is like, it's either one of those games where you full commit to and almost play it professionally, or you play it for a few hours, like, hey, that was fun. Let's move to the next game. Let's stick it in the couldn't finish it. Me and my friends definitely, God, we barely complete any hunts. Like, we were very bad at this game. We are so much worse at this game than we were at Back for Blood. I don't know why I put Back for Blood down here. I remember the thought process of doing it, but yeah, it's I actually played it, so putting it in Let's Play tier is meh. Poppy Playtime 1, 2, and 3. Um, I don't know why. I guess because they're chapters, not sequels. I personally think Poppy Playtime is peak. I'm sorry. It is so much better than Five Nights at Freddy's in every regard. The gameplay is so much fun. And it's weird because it's like kind of a running simulator, but the puzzles I find really creative. The storytelling's really fun. I think the monsters are both cute and scary. I actually truly believe Poppy Playtime surpassed Five Nights at Freddy's in every way. Um, Project Playtime's a multiplayer version. It's whatever Let's Play tier. I've seen people play it. I could care less outside of the lore implications that GT Live found. The Quarry goes into Let's Play tier with its brothers and sisters. And I think there's another one that's going to have to go up there eventually, but I don't know where it is. Okay, so we already did a Resident Evil tier list, right? So I'm actually not going to rank these. I am simply going to put Resident Evil into the replayable tier at the very top. The order doesn't typically matter because I'm just doing it in the order, alphabetical order. But I want it to be unknown. This is my favorite franchise. I could not possibly put it anywhere else. This is, I mean, like, in fact, add a row. No, add a row above is what I wanted. We're just gonna do that, and we're gonna rename it. Damn it. Literally Resident Evil. Like, and then we're gonna shove every Resident Evil game into that category, and that's gonna be what it is. It's I almost consider not even putting Resident Evil on this list because, like, it's not fair. So let's just give it its own category and move on, because I am well beyond biased. It's like if you ask my favorite Final Fantasy franchise or my favorite RPG franchise, I'm probably gonna say Final Fantasy because Final Fantasy 6 is in there, right? It's unfair. Every single Resident Evil game is absolutely one of the best games ever made in the genre, and you can't convince me otherwise. Sorry, not sorry. Resident Evil Outbreak. Oh my god. Wish I could do these multiples at a time. Because this sucks. Wait, actually, could I? Yeah, let's do it this way. We'll move it down here to where it's not so high up. I could also just choose not to do what I'm doing, but I'm already this deep. Wait, shoot. Where'd the res... Wait, where... Oh, there we are. Okay, cool. So now I can just go... Yeah. Here we go. This is what I wanted. We'll just leave it down here. That makes things easier. So yeah, the literally Resident Evil tier, you know, favorite franchise, whatever. Rule of Rose, much like many of these other old school horror games that I missed, I've watched a lot of deep dives into them. It looks really good. I have no interest in playing it. Maybe if a remake ever happened, I would, but yeah. SCP games, same thing. I've watched Let's Plays. There is Containment Breach, Secret Laboratory. There's honestly probably one of these that I would put in the literally too scary tier. I think like Containment Breach. Yeah, it was Containment Breach. It's both annoying and also just way too scary for me. There is too much going on in this damn game to scare the shit out of you. I couldn't progress at all. If this is the one I'm thinking of, where like you start out in a cell and like Billy or whatever is your first enemy, I can't handle it. That was too much. Signalis is it's fine. I couldn't finish it. I didn't like the gameplay, and I think the story was way too obtuse, and the inventory system was really bad. They've actually updated the inventory system, and it's probably better, but it was just so bad that I couldn't come back to it. I'm actually gonna make another tier here. Literally Silent Hill. But we're gonna do it with a twist. But I haven't played it. So there's two categories of Silent Hill games, right? There is Silent Hill, which is peak. Let's just we'll just do it this way. It's fine. There's a lot of Silent Hill games, and not a lot of them going, because I've only played Silent Hill 1, 2, 3, and 4. Is what it boils down to. And the Silent Hill games are peak, and a lot of people would say they're replayable. I would not agree with that. I think they're definitely one and done, then watch theory videos on. But they're the first playthrough, they're always peak. So we're gonna slap the first 4 Silent Hill games in peak, and then we're gonna put the rest of them in the literally silent. Oh, did I rename it? Oops. That's not what I wanted. Literally Resident Evil. And then we're gonna do blue for that, whatever. And then we're going to... How did I manage to accidentally... Whatever. We'll do it black. That works. Oh, you can't see that. All right, green. That works. And then we're gonna add a row below. And then we're gonna do Silent Hill games. Wait, I have a category for this. It's literally called games I want to play. We're gonna put the... So here's the thing. I thought there were only like 4 Silent Hill games and then a bunch of spin-offs. That is that's not how it works, actually. There's 9 Silent Hill games. They're all they're all canon. So I at some point need to play the rest of them, and I hear they get real rough. The Silent Hill 2 remake is actually, I'm gonna say, replayable. Silent Hill 2 remake basically made Silent Hill 2 from a good horror game into a great video game. I need to put the Siren games in the always wanted to play it tier. I've heard of them, and they're supposed to be good, I think, but I've never played them. So I can't tell you anything about them or give you any opinions. Mask of Skur, which you just saw. Skur Ritual, no interest. Yeah, I don't think that I had an interest in Ritual, but I actually think Mask of Skur was really fun. It was fine. I wouldn't replay it. I'll put it in one and done. I wouldn't replay it, but for what it was, which was like a $20 like 6 to 8 hour horror game, it was fun. I did have to use a guide. It can get very convoluted and confusing, but if you haven't played or heard of it, definitely give it a shot if you like horror games. It'll scratch an itch until something new comes out. I hate to say this, but we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna move the Let's Play tier back down now. Slenderman. I've never played a Slenderman game, and I've never played a Soma game. But as you can imagine, I've seen Markiplier, PewDiePie, and pretty much everybody else play these games. And again, they're fine. Same thing with Spooky's House of Jump Scares and Tattletale Until Dawn as well. It's crazy that, like, I mean, even games that I haven't actually played, I've seen so many Let's Plays. The amount of video games that are in my brain hole is ridiculous. Visage, I guess I missed a row because I don't know any of these games. Dusk, Dreadout. I think Dreadout was like kind of like a Silent Hill clone almost. I would put those in Let's Play tier, but I've only seen somebody play the first one. So yeah, I don't know what Deceit or Darkseed is, or Detention or Dusk. Dying Light, I don't know anything about them. The Evil Dick, I think I just missed like a couple of rows when I was clearing these out. So let me just go through here real quick and skip what I don't want to see. Oh no, it moved them all to the bottom. We're done, actually. The last game was Visage, I see. These were all the games that I like removed, and then when I cleared, I shoved them all in. Well, it doesn't matter. These are games that I haven't played. I either haven't played or I haven't heard of or I have no opinion on. I can actually put Alien Isolation, though, in the Let's Play tier, because Sandwiches did a playthrough of that. I know Among the Sleep was big for a little while, but I actually didn't watch anybody play it. And yeah, that's everything. So this is my horror game tier list. Hopefully that was fun for you and you're not too upset that your favorite game got put some. But see, the thing is there's no like bad list. The most bad list is couldn't finish it. And honestly, the only game on this list that I couldn't finish it because I thought it was bad were Signalis and Bloodborne. And I wouldn't even say Bloodborne was bad. I would just say it's not for me. There's 2 games in the too scary for me to play list. So yeah. And like I said, there's a lot of games that are missing on here. There's I forget what it's called. This is like a Five Nights at Freddy's unofficial fan game that's really interesting and fun. That came out, Joy of Creation. There was a Joy of Creation that came out a while back, and then they're remaking it, I think, or something like that. But yeah, that's it. If you have a game that I didn't talk about that you're curious about, be sure to put it in the comments below. I will happily let you know if I know about it, and my interest level in it. And yeah, thanks for watching. If you did enjoy it, likes, comments, subscription, all the good stuff help out a bunch. I promise I'm not a tier list channel. I'm reminiscing, exploring my feelings for games that I have played, loved, and enjoyed, and seeing where, how they stack up today. But yeah, deuces, dummies.